welcome to this week's episode of Sounds of the Diaspora. And joining me today is my good buddy over here. We're in the same studio, as you can tell, in the Virgin Islands, having too much fun. And the show haven't even started. Please join me in welcoming Mr. Ron Blake.
Hey. It's good to see you in person.
It's good to see you in person, too. Yes.
Live and direct.
Live and direct. And you know what live and direct means?
Live and
It is
direct.
live and direct. So we are here in person, hanging out at the University of the Virgin Islands, and brings back a lot of memories because, you know, when Ron and I were growing up, right outside of this building over the hill is Brewers Beach. And we used to spend a lot of time on Brewers Beach, dreaming about being musicians in New York and, you know, doing our thing. And hey, dreams do come true.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Yes,
That's for sure.
yes. So Ron is here tonight hanging out with me because he has a special project that he just released. And the last time he was on the show, he shared his upbringing and all of the wonderful things he did in his career and how he got to where he is now. So we're going to kind of continue from that conversation. And again, Ron, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yes, and it's good to see you here in sunny Virgin Islands. And we're going to have fun tonight because you brought some great music and we have some great stories to tell. So, yes.
We'll keep them,
We keep them entertained.
Yeah.
All right. So that being said, we just spent a lot of time, back in June playing at Dizzy's.
Yep.
21st Century Band. We had a good time. And from there, I did my own thing. You did your own thing. You had a couple of things going on. But you just released a new recording.
Yep.
Tell us about that.
Well, I August 8th was the release date, streaming everywhere. And the new project is called Scratch Band. It's self-titled Ron Blake Scratch Band.
Mm-hmm.
And it is not a scratch band music record per se.
Mm-hmm.
For
we'll
those
talk
of you,
about that.
we'll talk about that.
Yeah.
But it's a trio, and it's a collection of duets and
Mhm.
trios with Ruben Rogers,
Okay.
bassist in the 21st Century Band, and someone we've both known since we were teaching him in a high school music program a long time ago.
Mhm.
And then my good friend John Hadfield on percussion, drums and percussion, to fill out the trio setting. And it's a lot of fun. It secretly is. I'll reveal that if it was anything close to a concept when I was putting it together, we really leaned into the ballad kind of thing first, and I had been playing a lot more baritone saxophone.
Mm-hmm.
So it just kind of worked out I just fell in love with the sound of the bass and the baritone saxophone.
Mm-hmm.
And we kind of built it around there, and that was the starting point. So I'm really happy with it. We recorded 9 tracks, 4 of which are originals, and then we did some standards. And it's been fun. We just finished playing. We did 3 gigs last week.
Mm.
We debuted the release at Dizzy's in New York, and then we went up to Jimmy's Jazz and Blues up in Portsmouth, New Hampshire, and then we did a private show in Salem, Massachusetts. So it's a fun 3 days. A little bit too much driving for me, but it was fun,
Yeah.
and I'm really glad to be home now and catch a little breath
Yes.
before I get back into the routine,
Mm-hmm.
back in the city. So
Well,
yeah,
great, man. I'm really excited. I'm loving it. You mentioned the Barry Saxon. I love the Barry Saxon. I know that's like your main instrument on Saturday Night Live.
yes, yeah.
Barry Saxon flute. So it's really good to hear you feature that instrument, and I'm a big fan of that. But I want to go back to the title of the name because
Mhm.
you allude to scratch band, but it's not scratch band music.
Yeah.
So share with our audience, what is a scratch band?
Well, I've been really being educated about what a scratch band is since I started putting the marketing materials forth. I did a mini documentary, and I really tried to, from the best of my recollection when I was doing the mini documentary, try to retell what I remembered hearing just in terms of instrumentation and stuff like that. But a scratch band is essentially a local group from the Virgin Islands, British, US, and maybe other islands too, I'm sure, that play indigenous music, local music, traditionally folk songs,
right,
that have kind of spread throughout the Caribbean a lot of times. And then the instrumentation originally, which I found out, was basically a drum that was made from the barrels that they used to ship goods on boats that they would put a skin over. And someone would sort of sit on top, have to straddle that because it was a big like barrel type shape thing made out of wood. And someone would play the drum here, and then eventually someone started like tapping rhythm on the side of the drum, and then someone would sing. And that was like sort of the origins of the scratch band. So that is something that has developed over decades and decades and decades, obviously, into something that includes modern day instruments and stuff. But the basis of the modern scratch band, like from St. Croix, which I've learned there's like sometimes a different use of instruments in St. Thomas as opposed to St. Croix, stuff like that. But you have the guiro, the main sound that makes the scratch, right? Exactly. Then you have the triangle, which is the high bell, which is sort of, in comparison to African and West African music, the high bell sound that you hear playing a lot of, that's that sound. And then over the years, you incorporated a string instrument, some kind of string bass kind of sound. And then the first instruments that I think were used, at least what I've been told, sometimes violin, again, African instrument, and then fife, what they called a fife, where they would make flutes out of sugar cane. They would dry out the sugar cane, or eventually some kind of bamboo or something like that. So that was the origins of the sound. And then the music, to speak to that, and obviously this is all new information to me, but I've been schooled because as I reached out to some folks, Bronco, Hendricks in St. Croix, and I know all you people are sitting here
Dr. Olaf Hendricks.
Hey, thank you. You folks checking this stuff out, who in turn put me in touch with the person that he said was really instrumental in teaching him more about the history of the music, who's Stanley Jacobs from the 10 Sleepless Nights in St. Croix. And that led to a long conversation and a lot of information and more. And it's just discovering all of this stuff. But I have learned that in addition to the music, the platform of the music in the old days, there seemed to be a need for the locals, because they didn't have access to the courts and the legal system. So they would use these platforms of this live music to talk about things that were going on in the community. It could be a commentary on stuff that's happening, or it could also be like sort of gossipy kind of stuff. It ranged, the range of stuff and the style of lyrics and stuff like that came along with it, sort of influenced the types of music. But then it was also sort of tied into music that was accepted at the time, that was they were allowed to, we're talking like slavery, post-slavery, and so the influence of the European music and the European dances and stuff like that,
and the quadrille and the maypole dance and all of that stuff.
Exactly. So all of that stuff is sort of introduced sort of to create a acceptable sound, but through that, as we have done historically, we find ways to express
Right.
you know, and create commentary on stuff that's going on.
Mhm.
So that is a long-winded description of the band sound and the music. But to speak to the record, this is the second one on my new label, 1733
Mhm.
Productions. And after I put the sequence together and I was listening to the music, I kind of felt more like the sound of the record was a bit nostalgic to me. I kind of felt like how I used to feel listening to Quilby, and which is not the music I didn't. We haven't gone into Quilby yet, but just scratch band music, so we could stay in this zone. Scratch band music, which is something that generally, like now that I'm in New York and I'm not here as much, but every holiday season, Christmas comes around, and I brought my kids up with this stuff too. And that's like the first thing when we decorating the tree and everything, we put on the 10 Sleepless Nights, you know, and we said, so as I was listening to the records, the sequence of the records over and over, I didn't really have a title for the record at the time. I was just like, well, you know, it feels like home. Right. And it feels reminiscent to me of the music I listened to from scratch bands growing up. And I was like, well, that's the title. That's the title, you know. So
and it actually, when you sent me the first track, before it took me about 10 minutes before I played it, because I was looking at, I'm like, scratch band, and I was started to think, like, conceive, I wonder how this could sound with a trio. And I know Ruben and I know John, of course.
Yeah.
And I'm, you know, and then because the song you sent, it was a familiar song. I was like, okay. And when I played, I was like, yeah, it's refreshing. It's a refreshing sound.
Thank you, man.
And it's again, it's just a warm sound. So everybody that I knew that heard it in our circle, I mean, people started texting me, "You heard Ron Zoo, sing?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "Yeah, he's killing." But it's not, like you mentioned, it's not a full scratch band.
Yeah.
But it lends itself.
Yeah.
To the concept. But what you presented is like a modern, version of, what it is, and it sounds great, man.
Thank you. Well, I mean, I really appreciate that. I mean, it's something that came together very organically. I mean, I think I would share with your regular viewing audience. I mean, the record, and when it started, a part of, good things happening in art sometimes is just necessity. And when Ruben and I went into the studio for the first session, it was January 2021. And New York was in a complete lockdown at the time.
Yeah.
And we found a friend of ours, Andy Taub, where I had done the last record, and he agreed to let us come in, just the two of us, into the studio and work safely during that time. And that was the beginning of it, So all of that too was happening. Energetically, we were feeling a need to just connect and play music live, because we had gone through months of like doing this kind of thing where
lockdown, and
people sending you tracks, and then you record some stuff and send it back, or you try to record stuff together. All of that stuff was happening. So it was really exciting for us, but the energy of it too, which we listen to it now and we laugh about it a little bit. We both realized, like, what we had, although we had been playing, we hadn't been playing with other people, so our chops were not in the same place. So I think the music was like, let's do what we know, make stuff sound good,
right, and do the job.
And I think it created a really nice environment. The song that I sent a release first was a calypso, like a soca classic, by the Mighty Shadow bass man. And that was a song which you will remember, because I bugged you about doing that song with 21st Century for years, but I had never really thought about doing it with Barry and bass. It was always like in the context of the 21st Century Ensemble. That I was thinking about it, because you could have the trumpet and the steel pan playing all the horn parts and stuff like that. And I would just play the lead voice, and it would just be solo bass.
It's not too late to adopt it, though.
Hey, I think it's a classic.
Because I was listening to it, I was like, boom. Boom, 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 boom. I was like, yeah.
I just felt, and so to backtrack a little bit, when I did the title track for the last record, Mistaken Identity, that was the only, I did that one and Grace Ann. I recorded on Barry.
Okay.
For that record. And the rest of the record was all tenor.
Right.
And it was my first record in 15 years as a leader. So it was like I was focused on the tenor at the time. But when I heard the bass and the Barry together, I was like,
yeah,
I got to get back to that a little. I had to explore that a little bit more, deeply. And if there's anything that kind of settled in, there's two things. One was, as we were starting to put together the second session, which happened like almost 9 months later, when like in September of 2021, when we had John come into the studio. I knew what he did musically, right, and I knew it wasn't Caribbean music per se, but I had already kind of felt like, okay, if I'm gonna do more stuff with tempo and grooves, I didn't really want to do like,
you don't want
your
to drum
classic
groove. Exactly, yeah.
The classic saxophone bass drums,
right. And John knows how to hear that groove and color it.
Exactly.
Hence the scratch band concept, and that's what I got.
Yeah,
I was like, okay.
Yeah, it was really because it was really sick, because I sent him some stuff to listen to, and I said, look, I know this is not your collection of instruments that you leaned, but listen to it. The one thing that I wanted was to get that Guido kind of thing, but he does that with playing the frame drum that has the beads or something inside the frame. Had that same kind of thing, but it was a different texture. And I was like, okay, so add some bass drum. Okay, yeah, and then it was like, okay, that's the basic thing. So it just kind of it came together quite organically. You know what I mean?
But it worked. Like, again, conceptually, scratch band, that's what you use, what you have.
That's true.
And during that time of the lockdown and all of that, and conceptually from a music, like you said, you didn't want the whole drum set, you didn't want a conga player, you didn't want all that stuff. And John, as masterful as he is, took all of that and just kind of combined it, confined it to what he had and created another sound. I think it's I enjoyed it, man. I sat back. I played it like 5 times straight. I was like, yeah, I could vibe on this.
Man, thanks so much.
Yeah, man, it's really beautiful, man. Before we keep talking about this, I would like to play the first song.
Okay.
Because I would like our audience to hear what it is we're talking about. So as we continue the conversation, they start to like connect the song with the monologue. So if we could jump into the first song, which you shared with us, which is a song we played with 21st Century Band for many years, and you've now add your scratch band element to it. This is called Appointment.
Yes.
Yeah, let's check out Appointment.
All right.
Yes, so that was Appointment by Ron Blake off of the new Scratch Band recording. So what's the instrumentation?
On that one is drums, percussion. It's really like a integrated.
Mhm.
I mean, he's sitting in front of a drum kit, but he's got a frame drum sitting on his lap, which just to, I mean, if you haven't seen a frame drum, it kind of looks like a big tambourine
Mhm.
without the
Bells on them.
the bells,
Yeah.
the cymbals on the side, and it's played with both hands, one on top and then one on the side, and then they can have different, and this one has like shells or something, some kind of shakers or something inside the frame,
Mhm.
and then it has a back. Some frame drums only have like the
Right.
front, so that's like his primary. That would be kind of similar to like a snare drum tom kind of thing that he's using that for, and then he's playing the bass drum, and then he might pick up sticks and play cymbals or play cymbals with his hands,
Right.
while he's doing. So it's like an integrated percussion,
Mhm.
drum kit
Right.
kind of thing. And then Ruben is playing bass, just upright bass, acoustic bass, contrabass. And then I played soprano. I started out on soprano saxophone and then switched to tenor saxophone to play the theme, the main theme
Mhm.
of the song, which, originally started out and this is maybe some historical reference stuff too. You could probably remember when we first started playing this. There's a troupe in the carnival parade that I would always bring up the rear of the parade
Mhm.
every year. The Indians,
Indian troop, yeah.
Indian troupe,
Yeah.
and they have a very distinct groove
Mhm.
that they play,
Mhm.
which I found is a different. The Indian beat in St. Croix
It's
is
different.
different than the one in St. Thomas. But anyway, so that was the emphasis for that groove, and then I created the bass line
Right.
off of it. Eventually, the bass line kind of became the ostinato instead of the drum
Right.
pattern, and then so the drums could open up some more.
Mhm.
And then I figured I should try to play a melody that, lent itself to that, thinking of the fusion of all the different cultures in the Caribbean,
Mhm.
over the centuries, East Indian in this case, with African, so that's the kind of the thought for the composition and on the instrumentation, like I said.
Right.
Yeah. So
Great, beautiful. You talked
Thank
about
you, man.
playing, starting off with a soprano and then switching to the tenor to play the theme of the song.
Mhm.
So how many instruments do you play?
Well, or
Well, how many
These-
saxophones, how many wind instruments do you play?
Because these days I've been spending more and more time shedding on a lot of different instruments, but I've been playing soprano,
Mhm.
saxophone, and then the alto saxophone, which is pitched below that in a different key. And then I play the tenor saxophone, which is has been my primary instrument in the world of jazz, or the world that I've played a lot of live music on for years.
Mhm.
And then the baritone saxophone, which again is even lower than that, which
Right.
we'll hear on another song. And those are the four instruments that I play primarily. I started out as a classical alto saxophonist,
Okay.
studying classical saxophone many years ago. And since then, I've added the sopranino saxophone, which is higher than the soprano.
Mhm.
So I'm playing that now too. I was going to bring that to Dizzy's, but I thought I had enough going on. But then I do that, and then I play flute.
Okay.
Also, I've been spending more time with the flute, and more recently this year, I finally heard a clarinet,
Okay.
B flat, soprano clarinet for the first time. I was like, I got a sound out of it, and I was like, oh wait, okay, this is starting to make sense. I have a lot of work to do, but
Right.
as I honestly think, and if there's anyone on here that has played reed instruments, I think as far as a single reed instrument goes, I think that the clarinet is probably the hardest instrument to play. But I've been, so I got into playing clarinet. I've been messing around a little bit with bass clarinet too, just having fun.
The reeds, like basically the reed family. And
flute, then, piccolo. I would love to get into alto flute, but there's college tuitions and stuff like that.
But for our audience, like that's the instruments that Ron is talking about is really the entire flute family. I'm not flute, the wind family. Reed family, as we would say. Any instrument that you need a reed to like create a sound with,
except the double reeds,
except the oboe,
bassoon, oboe, English horn. That's not going to happen for me. I mean, I like them, but no.
Speaking of like, we're going to move on. The next song up. Well, thanks for sharing that, because it's really important for our audience to know, the spectrum of instrumentations that you cover based on the gigs that you do that requires you to, be that versatile. So that's great. Thanks for sharing that. But speaking of like, you have another song here that you shared with us that I think is one of the most beautiful songs you've written, one of them. And, we played it many times with the band. And I'm looking forward to this version of it because I know it's going to be really, really killing like the other stuff. You wrote this for your daughter. You want to tell her the name of the song?
Sure. This is called Song for Maya. And this is actually the original meter. And when we talk about that, I originally the arrangement that we did for the 21st Century Band, and the one that when I first recorded it with Christian McBride on the Vertical Vision record, it was done more as a Latin sort of tune with straight in 4/4 and 4/4 time. But when I first wrote the song, I wrote it in 3/4, and I never recorded it that way.
So hey. It's never too late.
It's never too late.
Now you've done it. So let's check out Ron Blake's Song for Maya. So that was Song from Maya in its original it's his original time signature,
Yeah.
3/4.
Yeah.
Which we've played many times in 21st Century Band, but we never played it in 3/4.
Exactly.
Then we need to try that. I like that. That's nice.
Thanks.
Beautiful, beautiful. So we'll continue with some more Ron's music. I mean, I'm really enjoying this side of you because I mean, it's like we played duets growing up, but you know, it was like drums and saxophone bashing out like Train and Elvin, or trying to
trying to
bash out like Train and Elvin. But this is
true.
This is really beautiful, man. This is the softer side of Ron Blake.
Well, thank you.
Yes, yes. But the next song you shared with us is entitled "April Fools."
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
April's Fool, I wrote many years ago as one of my first compositions, and a part of this record was paying homage to and tribute to Roy Hargrove,
Mm-hmm.
and I hoped to record with Roy on my last record.
Mm-hmm.
When I had to finish up that session, and the last time I saw him was at Dizzy's.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it might have been when we were working there, and he was playing with a late night band. He was sitting in with a late night band,
Mm-hmm.
and we were catching up.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we have daughters about the same age, all that sort of stuff. And so I said, "Listen, I'd love to have you come in, but I know, you know." He's like, "Just call me, and
Right.
you know, we'll do it." And that was the last time I saw him.
Wow.
So I recorded one of his songs on the album, Another Level.
Mm-hmm.
But the reason I came back to this song, April's Fool, is because on the first recording that we did on Verve, The Tenors of Our Time, he put this ballad, April's Fool of Mine, as the last track on the album.
Mm-hmm.
So to pay tribute to him, I put this as the last track on this album. So
beautiful.
And then I played Barry.
Right.
Again, because it was just, I was feeling it.
It's the right thing to do. But before we play that, there was one of our audience that is clear that you wanted to make a special statement for your daughter. Yes, definitely.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. It was my firstborn, so there was that going on for sure.
Great emotional connection. Yeah, so the audience is connected with it. Yeah, it's beautiful.
Thank you.
I think you guys are going to like this next song as much as I do. It's entitled April's Fool. Check it out. That was Ron Blake's April Fools. Beautiful song.
Thank you.
The melody is so catchy.
Thank you. Yeah, it was one of my early compositions. One of those songs that I literally everything came pretty much at the same time. So
I remember that when you put that together. This piece is such a cool vibe. Yes.
Thank you.
Ron, doing your thing on Scratch Band, ladies and gentlemen. Go out and check out the project.
Please
Scratch
do.
Band. This is Ron's new project release featuring John Hatfield and multiple percussion, Ruben Rogers on bass, and of course Ron Blake on the reeds.
Yeah, please visit. You can. And there's some videos up. We did some videos, live videos of 3 of the songs from the album. Set that different recordings all together, and those are up on my YouTube channel. So feel free to go check those out. And there's a mini documentary about the putting together of the Scratch Band album, and you can find links to everything at on my site at ronblakemusic.com. You can just go to my music page and it'll take you to whatever streaming platform you listen on and stuff like that. So check
Beautiful. Go check it out, ladies and gentlemen. I'm telling you, it's a great project. You're going to be hearing about this for a while. And that was Ron playing the bari sax.
Yes.
So the last and final song we're going to play, we'll share with you is Ron playing the bari sax again. And this song is entitled Gray Sand. This is one of my favorite songs also. We recorded it on our first album.
Yeah. And again, this is the original version of this song, which I think I did record on one other record. In 3/4 again, this was in written as a waltz, and then of course our version.
So all the women in your lives, well, not all, but your mom, Waltz for Gwen.
That's right.
Song for Maya is a waltz, and Grace is a waltz.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. And the songs for my other daughters are not waltzes. They are not. Those are both like groove dance type tunes.
Right.
And I wrote those for the SNL band, so it's a different context altogether. Different energy level required for TV. So.
Right.
But there was a connection there, and one of the reasons I wanted to record the original versions of those songs is because they are in 3.
Right.
And so I was alluding to that connection between Grace and Maya's mom, and Maya. So
beautiful. Well, let's check out Grace Ann. Yes, Grace Ann by Ron Blake on the bari sax,
Thank
Ruben
you.
Rogers on the bass, and John Hatfield on multiple scratch band percussion.
He is the scratch band rhythm section all
Yes.
by himself.
Yes, yes. You know, Ron is, time goes, man. Time flies, and we're almost out of time. But I really, I really want to thank you for coming on the show and sharing your new release with us and the audience and folks around the world and checking out what you're doing and giving a in-depth history or explanation rather of what a scratch band is and the origins of it. So folks, if you're so inclined, go check it out. Check out groups like Stanley and the 10 Sleepless Nights and James and the Happy Seven and Fungi Music from the BVI, British Virgin Islands.
Yeah.
Lends itself to this type of concept.
Lashing Dogs.
Lashing Dogs, yes.
Yeah.
These are groups that lends itself to the type of music that Ron is talking about, which is our cultural music from the Virgin Islands. And I think you did an awesome job within the jazz improvisational confines of presenting scratch band, quail bay, fungi music, your interpretation of it.
Thank you, man.
So
Thank
let
you.
our audience know where they can, get the music and how they can follow you.
Yeah, once again, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. There's videos there, and all the music is up there as well. And ronblakemusic.com, and every streaming platform that is out there, the music is up now. So feel free to check us out. We have a limited run on CDs because we didn't make a lot of CDs. Vinyl will be coming later, but I have a page up at Bandcamp if you'd like to purchase there, and other merch from the last record and stuff like that. So thanks to everyone. There's been great comments coming in. I'm sorry we haven't even gotten to so many of them. This is rare for us to actually be in the same place and catch up like this. So so forgive us, but thank you for all the comments that came in. I'm so glad you all are enjoying the music. And I hope to see you on the road somewhere soon, for sure.
Yes. Thank you, Ron, and
have a great year.
Have a great year
ahead.
Yes. School just started, and we're here doing our stuff at the University of Virgin Islands. But Ron, thank you for joining us.
Thank you, man.
Pleasure.
Yeah, it's so
Yes.
good to see you, Dion.
Yes. Likewise.
You look well.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Island life.
Yeah.
So please come back and join us, Sounds of the Diaspora, next week as we bring to you amazing pianist, composer. Yeah, I just had the pleasure of playing with him in the Hamptons a couple weeks ago. The one and only Mr. Elio Villafranca. So hope to see you next week again, Sounds of the Diaspora.
Peace.
Take care.